Hey there guys, this is Simon from Sex and I'm bringing you the Xperia Z, which I will not deny I've had my hyper beams on for this one. I've been following it for quite some time, and to finally get it to try it out and have a play with it, it's a pretty damn cool phone. Anyway, on with the review. So right, as you can see from me holding the phone here, it's actually pretty big, going at around 5.5 inches high and around 3.5 inches, no, sort of 3 inches in width. It's not a phone with people for people with small hands, unless you like the idea of carrying a pocket-sized tablet around with you. For its design, it's crazily thin as well, and seems Sony has gone all out to making this thing look sexy and sleek whilst having a weight of only 150 grams, which is really good considering the size of the phone. On top of that, it seems they've really gone all out to make this phone the clumsy man's phone. Are you one of those people that just have butterfingers when holding the phone? Worry no more. This thing is made of Dragon Trail glass, which is meant to be 10 times stronger than Gorilla Glass. It's scratch resistant, it's shatterproof, it can be dropped, it can be thrown. Obviously not to the excessive force, but if you're, just clumsy, you should have no problem with this phone. On top of that, they've tried to keep the trend going since the Xperia Go and made this thing waterproof. Now, I didn't dare test this because I didn't want the £500 bill on my hands and the manager telling me, oh, you. But it's been advertised and it's been trailed, and I have no reason to doubt it is true. So dropping this thing down the toilet shouldn't be a problem for anymore for those clumsy people yet again. This phone seems to be aimed around clumsy people. Well, there is one thing you'd have to worry about, and that's the smell. But yeah, you can drop it into around about 1 meter of water, and it could stay there for a good 30 minutes. So you could technically record videos under it, but that you have to sort of submerge it whilst it's recording. Now this phone is really quick. It does pretty much everything in an instant. We can thank that to the 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor and the 2 gigs of RAM for that. You ask for the command, and it just gets done. It's really practical. The screen itself is pretty damn cool as well, displaying at a full 1080p of color ranges at 441 ppi. You can enjoy videos, TV shows in their full glory. Games, don't forget games as well, all 1080p. On top of that, I don't know how excited you guys are about this, but I got pretty excited, and it allows you to touch the screen with 10 fingers at once. It's got 10 different receivers. So Fruit Ninja just got blimmin' easy. Now this is a sealed unit, but the battery length holds up all the same. As most phones these days are pretty sort of around about the 1,900 to 2,100 mark. This one goes to 2,330 mAh, so the battery's bigger and it lasts a good solid amount. And whilst it may be sealed, and I know a lot of people were probably dreading the fact that means you can't put an SD card into it, then have no worries, because this thing has an SD card port where you can expand the 16 gig internal memory up to as well, however big the SD card you have. Now the camera, this is what has got the most people's attention. With a 13 megapixel camera, who doesn't think that sounds great? It captures well and has the usual gizmos that the phones have today, with face detection and geoface tagging and all that snazzy doodah. The panoramic picture taking has taken a big leap, and simply it looks amazing. It holds the picture quality quite well, even with someone who has jittery hands. It will just try to adjust according to the image. Also, its burst imagery seems to capture a lot faster than most phones I've seen. This thing, you hold it down for around about 2 to 3 seconds and it's already taken about 30 pictures. However, I did say that this camera was in much with discussion of some users. Apparently, it's not quite as good as capturing light as a lot of phones today. Whilst 13 megapixels in low light whilst it is 13 megapixels in low light situations, it just doesn't seem to hold up as well. Still, it's 13 megapixels. It's a step in the right direction, and people should be doing this more. So good guy, Sony. The front camera is pretty damn cool as well. I was just giving the Z10 a pat on the back earlier for its 2 megapixel front camera, but Sony seems to have gone one up on them again, and 2.2 megapixel camera. Not a huge difference, but again, it's a step in the right direction. With all the Sony phones, they choose to clutter it up with fancy gizmos like Sony Music, Play, Films, Browsers, etc. Doesn't matter if you have a Flickster account or anything like that, Sony wants your money, and they want you to jump through their hoops, so this phone is fat with Sony software, which is disappointing. Secondly, there seems to be a little bit of a glitch. That could be the phone could be because the phone is technically locked. When you swipe to take a picture in the lock screen, it comes up with the camera. You're thinking, no problem. Want to change the settings, so you want to change the settings to the front camera, and it drops you back to the lock screen. It took me about 30 seconds to realize that the phone wants you to unlock it before you can have a faff around with the settings. Lastly, it's the cost. There's no denying that this phone is one of the best phones I've ever come across. The screen is awesome, the camera is great despite its flaws, and everything else about this phone complements it really well. But £500, that's a stinger. Not to anti-promote this phone, but my advice would be to wait whilst it comes down in price. Whilst the difference is truly there, and it's definitely an upgrade from today's phones, it's just not enough of an upgrade for you to part your money with something if you bought something recently. For example, if you bought the Lumia 920, the Galaxy S3, the iPhone 5, or the BlackBerry Z10, I just can't see it being worth your while. Whereas if you have anything less than those phones, then by all means, jump into the pole position of the phones race and make everything else look dumb and stupid. But then, what other phones offer you a 13 megapixel camera whilst being drop resistant, dust resistant, waterproof, being amazingly fast, 1080p, and looking bloody sexy at the same time? I want this phone badly. I can't deny it. It's just not that badly. Sony has upped the game, and now everyone else is having to jump through their hoops in order to compete. But, hopefully this will be the next generation of smartphones, and we'll be stepping in the right direction. 13 megapixel camera. HTC One is coming out next soon with the ultra megapixel camera, and so on. So we'll see how this goes. It'll be really interesting how the other phones will compete against this one. Cool, thanks very much guys for listening to this review. As per usual, you can check the website www.webuy.com for prices if you want to buy or sell a Sony Xperia Z. Or you can go into your local store and they'll be able to provide you the information you require. Coming up soon, I should hopefully have the HTC One and we'll be having a look at that. That'll be so damn awesome. So, I'll see you again soon. Cheers, thanks very much, bye.